All right. So to start this thing off, okay, I'm sitting here with, who am I sitting with?
Jack Bence.
Awesome. Now let me ask you this. What do you do?
So manager of OV CrossFit, CrossFit affiliate in St. Clairsville, Ohio. Head coach, youth performance, youth program, athletic training development, also in the St. Clairsville, Ohio Valley area.
So you've been in fitness for a long time, huh?
Been a while. Been definitely a while. As an athlete, grew up my whole life playing sports. Going into coaching, started about 5 years ago, working in small areas with with athletes in the area, and then kind of working up from where we're at now.
Hell yeah. Let me ask you this. So is there any person, moment, what got you into sports, and then what got you into the CrossFit side of fitness?
I grew up loving sports. I grew up
Yeah,
loving
yeah.
watching sports and stuff like that. So having a passion for athletics and competition and stuff like that as an athlete was really what drove me into that. As my athletic career kind of started to end, it became much more of I like seeing how the body works and how to make it better. And so taking that and taking my passion for sport and for competition and then taking that and trying to instill it into athletes and trying to make them better than they were.
Hell yeah. You seem to be pretty knowledgeable. Where'd you study at?
So I got my exercise physiology degree at West Liberty University. So I stayed rather local.
Yeah.
For that, was coaching midway through that. So yeah, major in ex-phys, athletic coaching minor. So.
And then you're CrossFit certified, right?
Yep.
And what certifications do you have? So you have obviously a degree in exercise physiology. That's huge.
Yep. So ex-phys degree, CrossFit level 2.
Okay.
Trainer, USAW, so USA Olympic weightlifting certification. On that, some functional movement screening, stuff like that. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So a lot of people, they'll go exercise physiology or med school or this or that. What made you decide, like, I want to coach fitness versus something else?
I had a passion for exercise.
Yeah.
I've always loved being in the gym. And loved working with the process of getting better. And so when I didn't want to go into a clinical rotation and work with individuals that weren't going to be in the space that I knew I could serve best.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this: who does it you serve best? What's your specialty?
People who want to work hard.
Yeah.
So I know that I tend to work best with individuals who have the work ethic or are willing to learn to adapt the work ethic.
Okay.
People who want to be better than what they see in the mirror, or people that want to be better than what they see on the field or court or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you run the youth program here, right?
Yeah. So myself and Jessica Maxwell. Jess Maxwell is the director of the program. I'm the head coach of it.
Okay.
We started that back in 2021. As a small little trial program of 10 weeks with 12 kids, and adapted that to where we're at now.
Hell yeah. So what's the mission of OV CrossFit?
Mission of OV CrossFit, forging elite fitness.
Okay.
Having every athlete that comes in the door, our motto or mantra or whatever is going to be, trying to be better than yesterday, right? The cool thing about CrossFit in general, and specifically our community, which is a fantastic community, is that we all come from different walks of life. Different ages, different backgrounds, different life experiences. So getting to see all of that, but at the same time have all of these people in the same room doing the same thing and trying to make themselves better and feeding off of one another is really the special sauce of what we do.
Awesome. So when people come in, walk me through how do you guys accomplish that mission from a setting? How do you program? How do you make an amazing class? What makes an amazing CrossFit class?
Effort on both sides, So we hold ourselves to a very high standard of superior coaching. We set a pretty high bar for our coaching staff on what they need to be able to accomplish, the amount of effort and the amount of attention to detail that we bring. We know our athletes well. We know their movement patterns, and so taking an athlete that comes in the door and being able to adapt the workout to whatever they need at any given time. So everyone is going to come in with a little bit of a different situation. Some different strong suits, some different weak points. So taking an athlete and trying to make sure that we preserve the stimulus of the workout while trying to instill it and adapt it to what that athlete needs at any given time.
Amazing, amazing. And is it kind of the same thing with general population or fitness? It's you come in and we got to cater to your goals and make you the best, right?
Right. So it's individualized training in a group setting. You know, everyone is trying to get their own goals.
Yeah.
The workout's going to be still the same.
Yeah.
But a workout can look pretty different if you and I have if you can do pull-ups and I can't.
Yeah.
It is my job as the coach to make sure that, in this case, I'm getting an adaptation or a variation or scale that is going to make sure that I'm still working just as hard as you.
Absolutely.
Even if we both come in here with different skill sets.
Okay. Walk me through your guys' training philosophy. So what's a set of exercises, or what's some stuff you guys do to actually perform those adaptations? And say someone can't do it, what's an example of something we could do to make sure everybody gets results?
Sure, of course. So we use functional fitness, right?
Okay,
So functional movements, right? Things that you are going to be able to practically apply to your day-to-day life for the most part, right? Because, you know, as much as we love them, preacher curls aren't going to be as beneficial to what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So having a movement, let's say like a pull-up, like I said.
Great.
So if we're going to be on the pull-up bar,
Yeah.
and if you come in on day one and you say, I can't do a pull-up, which
Yes.
is perfectly normal because that's
Yeah.
not something that we expect walking in off the street.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. If you can't do a pull-up, then we start with, okay, maybe if you can get up there but you can't quite get it, let's throw a band on the bar.
Yeah.
You know, let's work on some negative work.
Yeah.
If we can't do that, then we have these rings that are going to be on the pull-up rig as well. Get them in a lateral position and just try to get some sort of pulling motion to where we can then work with that athlete and say, okay, here's what we need to do to build up to get you to the point where the pull-ups are our thing. And if there's an athlete who comes in, because we have athletes that are above the age of 80. Right?
Wow.
So
everyone's an athlete. So when you come into OV CrossFit,
if you walk in, if you step on the floor, you're an athlete.
You're an athlete.
Yep.
Okay, now let me ask you this. So a lot of people, especially from people who might be new to fitness, what would you say to someone who's maybe scared of doing the CrossFit or they've done diets in the past, but like how do you guys introduce that and make that an amazing environment for people?
Hardest thing you will ever do is to just start.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Step in the door, see what it's about.
Yeah.
If stagnation is absolutely going to be the thing that is going to keep you where you're at. Yeah. So, you know, getting people to understand that if you don't like what is going on in your life, if you don't like how your fitness is or how your health is or, you know, nutrition, whatever, doing nothing about it is a number one way to keep doing the exact same way you're doing.
Yeah.
So the worst thing you can do is try it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, that's totally fine. When we have an onboarding process with the adult program and with the youth program, the first class for every single person in here is free.
Wow. Okay. So someone comes in here, they're going to get a free class and get that free introduction, no risk, right?
No risk at all.
There's a guarantee with both. You're guaranteed to not get what you want if you don't come in, but you're also guaranteed to maybe get a chance at getting what you want by coming in, right?
Step out of your comfort zone, you might change your life.
Wow.
So we, if you like that class, great. Then we have the conversation about what the onboarding process looks like. If you don't, that's totally fine. We're done. Good to go.
No matter what, there's no harm in trying, right?
No catch at all.
Amazing. So let me ask this: when someone comes in, right? What are some things that we're going to work towards? Obviously, there's going to be a set of numbers or a set of something that we're going to be doing in the workouts to build, right? What are some things that we're going to be building towards in the gym, for example?
So that would depend heavily on what the athlete's looking for.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So our big thing with athletes is going to be understanding the why.
Yes.
Right. So on both sides, it is, you know, our responsibility as coaches to get people to understand why we're doing certain things. You know, because someone can walk in here and be like, "Why are we doing running intervals?" It's like, well, you know, it's running season's coming up. So getting them to understand why we're programming, but then also on the other side, getting an athlete to explain to us why they're here.
Yes.
You know, so everyone. When you have people coming in with different backgrounds and stuff like that, everyone's going to be in here differently. You know, if I'm looking at the youth program, I can have an athlete come in here who has never done any sports at all and just needs to get fit and try to be a little bit healthier.
Yeah.
Or I can have an athlete who is trying to go D1 in basketball.
Wow.
And the thing is I can see both of those people in the same exact class.
Yeah.
And we can figure that out. If I'm of the understanding of what that athlete's trying to do. So we plan the programming out, or we plan the progressions out based on what that athlete might need.
Okay,
and then we go from there.
So it's pretty customized. So the people that come in here, they know that the coaches here are catering to their goals and needs.
Correct.
So how do you guys do that? So walk me through. Let's say we have somebody who wants to go D1 in basketball. How do we make a program to make them better?
So we look at what their weak points are going to be, right? So we have a functional movement assessment that we will run on athletes when they are first coming in with us. That gives us an opportunity to see how their body moves, where their mobility is, if there's any sort of asymmetries or anything that's going on with them, and then it kind of paints a picture of where they are from joints, from musculature, things of that nature, that give us an idea as to what needs work, what is going to be a risk of injury, and how we can bridge the gap to where we shore up the injury risk as best as we can. Because obviously you can't, injury prevention is not real, right? If you can't completely prevent injuries, things are going to happen, right? But we can put the body in the best chance to where it's not going to happen because of a fault in the system.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you know, if we are able to make sure things are balanced from right to left, if we're making sure that our knees are able to, you know, accelerate and decelerate with the same amount of consistency, you know? So looking at those type of things and building up training, and also being customizable to what the season looks like. We work with a lot of athletes in season, to where if a athlete is in the middle of their season, training is going to look a little bit different than if we're in the middle of June and we got some time before we start picking up a basketball, right? So we can hit the hammer a little bit harder on strength in the off season. When we're in season, if we got a game tomorrow, or if we're in the AAU setting and we're trying to go to a tournament this weekend, I'm not going to bury them on squats on Friday.
Wow.
So communication.
So what would you tell to a kid that is always doing training, always doing skills? How do we factor in that recovery aspect? Because a lot of people, they get overwhelmed with wanting to do this workout and this workout. I'm going to train here, and then we're going to go shoot basketball later, and they seem like they're not making any progression, but they might be doing too much. So how do we communicate? Like, what would we say to somebody who tries to do everything, right, but can't really focus? Like, how do we communicate that?
So the thing about the recovery thing is recovery is especially with youth, recovery is the number one hardest thing to instill in youth, because all they want to do, especially the higher end athletes, the workhorses, all they want to do is go, right? So getting them to understand that sometimes we got to dial things back. Sleep, nutrition, recovery, those are just as, if not more important than the actual side of the training.
It's hand in hand.
Exactly.
Right?
So getting them some load management, checking in with them regularly. It takes 5 seconds to ask a kid how they slept. You know, if they ask how they slept, what'd you eat today? We have a lot of athletes that, especially during season, will come in here either immediately after or before their practice. And so we actually we'll keep like some small snacks on deck. To where if an athlete is coming in here right after a cross country practice and they've run 5 miles and they haven't eaten since 2 o'clock, we can't control the things we can only control an hour of their day. We can try to influence the other 23. But if someone comes in here and their blood sugar's low, they're hurting, instead of burying them in a workout when they're already very under recovered, let's give them something to get through. Just get through the workout, you know. So if it's a little go-go squeeze, it's some quick carbs to get them in, and then give them an opportunity to then be able to train, maybe not at the highest level that they possibly can, but to just not have as much of a diminished return.
100%. So basically, what I'm hearing is that you come in, you can control an hour of their day, but a big part of that is also knowing what to do the other 23.
Exactly. So educating the athletes is really important for us. The thing about with youth training is that our motto is we build athletes to be more than strong. In that, can I make you strong? Can we make you strong? Absolutely. Can we make you fast? Sure. Can we make you excel at your sport? We can give you the tools to do so. Absolutely. But at the same time, these athletes are more than just kids playing sports. You know, at the end of the day, whether it's, you know, end of middle school, end of high school, end of college, or even, you know, if they get to a professional level, there's going to come a time where their athletic career is over and they need to be an adult now. So understanding the concepts of hard work, and the concepts of taking care of your body and educating them on how to be good adults just as much of how to be good athletes. We want to separate ourselves when it comes to not only our athletic performance, but as well as we want to make sure that our kids are the ones that have the best sportsmanship. They're the ones that have the best respect. And they have the best work ethic and understand what it means to earn the results that they have.
So I'm hearing is basically when you come in here, it's more than just a workout. It's what that translates to, not just in your sport, but in your day-to-day and how you carry and how you act.
Absolutely.
100%. I love it. Let me ask you this. What are some common mistakes we might see with people who are not willing to maybe get a coach or maybe don't have the resources to get a coach? What are some common mistakes we see with people who don't understand kind of what to do?
I think that a lot, especially in today's world of youth training, I think that we really focus on sport too much or too early with these athletes. The notion that a 10-year-old athlete needs to be specializing, or that is a 10-year-old athlete is elite, is a tough look for the industry.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do people think that?
Because it's always been a matter of keeping up with the Joneses, you know. And so if Tommy's playing in 15 games this weekend, and then George's parents are going, oh well, you know, we got to keep up with Tommy, so we got to make sure that this year, by the time he gets to middle school. But then at the end of the day, sports are games, you know, and especially at that young level. A lot of us try to make this more of a job for kids, and then forget the fact that they are still children. You know, so that's a big one that we see when it comes to the mistakes that both kids and parents make growing up is getting them to either specialize too quickly and only focus on one sport, or focusing so much so on the high technicality stuff that if you can go crazy in an agility ladder, but you can't do an air squat with keeping your heels on the ground, we have a really big problem. You know, so those are kind of some of the things that we see a lot is making things more complicated than they need to be too early, and centering an athlete and saying he's going to focus on football at the age of 8.
Wow.
So,
Let me make sure. So let me ask you this. What would you say to some of these kids, or maybe even some of these parents who could be nervous about getting a coach with all the stuff you see on social media and all this? What would you say to a parent who's nervous or hesitant to work with somebody?
Come try it.
Come try it. Yeah.
Like I said, just like with the adult program, it's completely free for the first day. We pride ourselves really big on communication, because with youth, and it's different with the adults, because the adults are obviously, they're paying for themselves, they're here for themselves, you know. So with the kids are receiving the product, but the parents are the ones that are providing it for their kid. You know, so having to be able to communicate with those parents, and get them to understand why we're doing the training, and get them on the same page of here's how your athlete is doing, this is what we need to be working on, and giving them some ideas to do at home, you know. So really trying to be transparent with our parents, because our parents are the ones that are allowing us to do these things and allowing us to have this fantastic job that we do. So
So let me ask you this: how do we explain to these athletes, or how important is it for you guys? Obviously, it's your character, right? So are you guys instilling in your athletes, hey, your parents are the ones providing this for you?
Sure. So it's an interesting dynamic, because you have you don't want to make it feel like you don't want to make the athletes feel bad for having a parent, the parents providing it for them. But getting the athlete to understand, like, you have people in your corner. So instead of making it a negative, shifting it to a positive of saying, you know what, look, your parents are investing in you here. We as coaches are investing in you. Your parents are obviously investing the time, effort, and money and all that thing, but we're also investing in you and saying we're going to show up for you. We're going to be here. We're going to be present for you, and we're going to be thinking about your goals and your ambitions and giving everything we have to get you there. Another thing that we do, that we try really hard to kind of separate ourselves with, is we attend a lot of sporting events for our athletes. In that we will go and we will see a basketball game. You know, just yesterday evening, we have an athlete who came to us when she was, I believe, 13, and has been working with us for the entire time. Has never left. Has always had a working relationship with us. And when she came in, she was a 7th grader going into 8th grade for basketball and wanted to go D1 in basketball.
Wow.
She is now a junior and scored her 1,000th point in her career last night. So being able to be present for our athletes and show them, look, if you're willing to commit to us and be here, we're going to commit to you. We're going to commit to you outside of here. We're going to make sure that you're chasing your goals. And if we have anything to say about it, we're going to make sure that we're there to see you achieve your goal. Because that's the fulfilling part, right?
Yeah. Wow. So, and because she came in, I mean, she was 13, and because she came in, she had the courage to start. Like you said, the hardest part starting.
Right.
Come down there. How old is she now?
She's 17.
So she's 17. She's been here for 4 years, right? Because she came in and started, and then she had success because she started. And not only that, it's like you said, it's a two-way street.
Exactly.
They're coming to you. They want to get better. But as a coach, you guys are giving back to the people that come in and want to invest with you guys.
Yeah.
100%.
So we, with stuff like that, we lay the foundation for them. So when we have an athlete who comes in at a younger age like that, the preteen, right before they get to a teenager, obviously that's a time for both male and female athletes that there's a lot of changes going on. There's growth spurts. There's this and there's that. If you're able to set the foundation from a movement pattern perspective before the growth spurt happens, it makes it a lot less awkward when we get to be growing up and doing all those other things. So we were able to lay the groundwork with her and get her movement patterns where they needed to be, to where by the time that she started growing and when she started having to move faster and the workload got a little bit more, she was able to adapt to that much easier because she was already building the volume up and doing the grunt work in here.
Because of your guys' attention to detail in the programming, it's a transformation. It's a whole process that all comes together. You guys are doing training, nutrition, accountability, motivation, mindset, not only just in the gym but outside the gym. And I think that's kind of what I'm hearing is it's a whole process. And I bet for you as a coach, that's cool to see that.
It's awesome.
The fulfilling part.
Yes, absolutely. You know, these you see the glimmer in some of these athletes' eyes when they start to see things, you know what I mean? And they start to talk about what they want. We have another athlete who came in, he was 12, and I want to say he was 350 pounds when he came in. I mean, so he had he had a very uphill battle looking toward him. And we told him, we were like, look, this is not going to be easy. He has a couple of other, health concerns he's always had from the time that he was an infant, and so we had to adapt a lot of things. We had to adapt some training to achieve those things, and all he wanted to do was get to the point where he could play sports, he could get healthy, and he could change his life. And that's a really heavy burden to hold at 12 years old. He is now, last time I checked with him, and he might quote me on this, but he is. If he's not under 230, he is very close. And he's only been here for, I want to say 2 years.
So in 2 years, you took a kid that was 350 pounds, and now he's lost over 120 pounds just because he came in here and tried it, and you guys helped him out.
Yeah, he did the work. We helped him pave the path. He took a big step when it came to his nutrition.
How important is that? So how much does that go hand in hand? Because a lot of people might see online, this is the best diet, this is the best training, this is all that. Sure. How important is having all of it? Like, how important is that?
It's the full package, like I said. So you have your recovery, you have your sleep, you have your nutrition, and then you have obviously the training. And if one of those is lacking, it's going to, you're going to have, you might be able to still get a little bit of adaptation, but it's going to be stunted by the lack you're missing.
It's like a chair. You have 4 legs, but if you kick one of the legs out, it's going to fall.
Exactly.
100%.
So it's one of those things where the athletes that we work with, we try really hard to instill that you need to be clicking on all cylinders to the best of your ability. Now, there is the problem with a lot of the stuff about nutrition is really kind of iffy because these athletes are not going to the store and buying their own stuff. So it's an educational piece that we not only work with the athlete, but we also talk about with the parents of saying, hey, here's some things of this and here's some pointers there. We can't tell parents how to live their life, and we obviously can't tell kids how to live their life, but all we can do is provide the knowledge that we possess with our coaching staff and hope that is absorbed. So yeah, all you can do is the best you can. We try really hard to not. We don't want to take credit for the kids' success. You know what I mean? Because these we work with some of the most incredible athletes in the area, and I love all these kids. But we, as much as I want to, I can't lift the bar for them.
Yeah.
I can't put the right food on their plate for them.
Yes.
And I for sure can't go out on the field or court or whatever, or on the ice, and I can't play for them. So, we can give you all the tools you need, but at the end of the day, it's the athlete's responsibility to take those tools and use them. And if they do, great. We're going to have a lot of fun together, and we're going to see it. And if they don't, then you know what? That's okay. We're changing their life still.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of how we approach it.
So what, as an athlete, like what makes a healthy meal? What do we have to have to make sure that, like, not only are we getting the results from the gym, but making sure we're recovering properly?
We need to be able to replenish our body.
Okay.
So when it comes to the specifics of nutrition, the director of the program, Jessica Maxwell, is our brain on the nutrition side of things. She has her master's in nutrition.
Oh, so you guys have someone with a master's in nutrition programming for your athletes.
So we don't program the food for them. It's, again, with that, it's really shaky because you have the athletes that are not providing for themselves. But she is the one who leads the conversations when it comes to the educational side of things. She is an absolute wealth of knowledge from both the training perspective and from the nutrition perspective. And so athletes that are interested in having that conversation with her, she is always first to help them with that, first to invest her time, effort, and energy into it. And so yeah, but when it comes to the actual meal itself, getting kids to understand, in a world of the social media where this is bad and this is bad and this is horrible for you and this is that, is trying to get kids to understand that food's good. And at 11 or 12 or even 16 years old, trying to keep their relationship with food as positive as possible. So obviously instilling in them what foods they should be looking for in a meal. Not trying to overload. If they're coming in here to do a workout an hour before, probably not a great time to go get a T-bone steak over at Longhorn. Or how to prep your body and how to fuel your body going into a game or after a big lift or something like that. So getting them to understand what that looks like and hoping that they take it.
Amazing. So we talked a little bit about, obviously, like you said, that fulfillment side of coaching.
Sure.
Let me ask you this: as a coach, like, what's your personal mission? Like, how do you want to feel, right, when you look back on your coaching? What's like a personal mission that you have in terms of being able to serve people?
So when it comes to my mission, in the short term, and the small answer is that I want to make athletes better. I want to help athletes get to where they want to go. And so, like we talked about, it's a very big, broad range of things that we have when it comes to those athletes. At any given point, I can be talking with an athlete who wants to go to the highest level in their sport. I can have an athlete who wants to be able to just make a high school team, or an athlete who has no ambitions from sport or anything like that, but wants to just be a healthier version of themselves and be able to smile when they look in the mirror. And hearing that from a kid is tough. But I just, I want to help people be better with their life and be happier in the long term. Something that I've said from the beginning of when we started this was I want to be the coach that every athlete needs. I'm sure in your athletic career, you knew a time where you needed a coach, and you either had it or maybe you didn't, and you needed the coach that was going to be like, hey, you know what, I got you. So the one who steps up, and then down the road, when our athletes are grown up and the next generation of kids starts coming down the line, I don't know if I'll still be doing it at that point, but I don't know. I got some years left. But if our athletes end up having kids of their own, I want our program, I want our coaches to be the standard that they look for, and will expect nothing less of, because I want us to be so good that those athletes will say, I want my athlete to be able to coach like Coach Jack or Coach Jess or Tess or Casey or whatever. So, that's the real goal is setting the standard for what these athletes should be looking for.
Wow. I love it. Let me ask you this. So we talked about nutrition, we talked about training, we talked about culture, community, we talked about how all of that kind of comes together for character. What effect do the athletes have on your life?
They take up a lot of it. These athletes are truly amazing. When it comes to my life, when I started working with youth athletes, I was 21 years old, and I was working out of a gym up in the Pittsburgh area. It's Iron City Elite. I was working as an intern under a coach up there, another brilliant mind. His name's Jeremy Smith. And he was working and helping me adapt with that. And so when I started working with that, I was very young. I was still developing who I was as a person, and especially who I was as a coach. Right. So these athletes have truly molded who I am.
Wow.
And given my life a level of purpose that nothing in my life has ever been able to give me.
Wow.
I love working with my kids. I love being able to see these lives being changed. The amazing part about working with youth is just how much you see in the molding of lives. When it comes to adults, I love working with adults. Adults can change their life for sure.
Wow.
But as a human, we're mostly who we are at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we are, I don't want to say stuck in our ways, but with a kid, they're very moldable still. And so instilling the importance of hard work in a society where that is a dying breed. With athletes who understand that they are not going to be entitled to everything.
Yes.
They are not going to be entitled to success or entitled to playing time, or if they want a job opportunity, they need to go out and get it, and they need to go do the work. And so getting them to understand that has brought me so much purpose, has brought me so much fulfillment, and has really has truly changed my life.
Wow. Yeah. Let me ask this. We talked about, sometimes we might be stuck in our ways as people. Have you had any, throughout your coaching career, throughout your athletic career, what have been some perspective changes you've seen from yourself in regards to training, nutrition, accountability, or even meeting someone who might not be as advanced as you might be as a mindset in training? Like, what are some perspective changes you went through?
So I've always, different styles of training. So everyone has their own thing that they like to do. And I'd be lying to you, as when it comes to how I program and what I program for the youth athletes is, there have been times where I'm like, I don't, I'm not, that ain't my speed, So I've learned that, I've seen what works, and I've seen what doesn't work, and I've seen how I need to change in order to be best for my athletes. I think the biggest lie that a coach can say is the fact that they're good with what they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because we're all still learning.
Wow.
Yes. And so if someone were to say, like, I know all there is to know, there's no way. You're lying. There's always something.
That's been huge for me.
Sure, and that's as an athlete too. Like, I got everything all shored up. I promise you. I bet you we can find something different.
Yes.
But getting a mindset in my brain where, like, I could always be doing more. I could always be educating myself in a different realm, and then allowing that. We push really hard for continuing education with the rest of our staff on all fronts, on the adult front, on the youth front. We always want to be improving ourselves so that we can then in turn improve our community. So it's having the perspective of, no longer being the dumb, fresh out of college kid where I'm like, I read the book, I got an A in strength and conditioning, I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
No, you get into the field, it's a whole different ballgame. And if you're not willing to adapt your ways and see how things can go, you're not going to last too long.
Wow. So what's something maybe you've seen with coaches who a lot of times are like, I know this and that. What's a realm that from going from an athlete to CrossFit? What's a big translation that you see from a lot of athletes or college kids or strength and conditioning professionals who think they might know it all? Maybe what's something that a lot of people maybe get wrong?
So I think that people very, 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 very often underestimate how quickly things can change when we turn intensity up. So, if just as as an example, if we're talking about how strong someone is, when it comes to an adult, is like, oh, I can squat X amount. If you can squat X amount when you're perfectly fresh, like, good for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll happily fist bump you, do the whole smack ass thing, whatever.
Let's go.
And but let's see what you can do when you run a mile, and then we'll see how much you can squat.
Yes.
So when it comes to the athletes, we don't put a whole lot of, or when it comes to youth athletes, we don't put a whole lot of emphasis on one rep absolute strength, because when it comes to our sport playing athletes, that is never going to be a factor. So when if you can pick up, we have athletes that can squat 200 or squat 200 plus, deadlift 300, whatever, at a young age, awesome. But what are you like in the third period of a hockey game? What are you like in the fourth quarter of a football game when everyone's tired?
Wow.
What are you able to do differently?
Yeah.
So a lot of people misunderstand everyone wants to do the cool stuff. Everyone wants to throw the extra plate on the bar.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be able to see what your 40 time is or whatever, right? But how have you developed your body to be able to work when everyone on the court or everyone on the field's tired? Because when it comes to our training and when it comes to how we do things, you can point out, you can find our athlete in the fourth quarter. You can find our athlete in the third period. You can find our athlete at the very end of a competition, because they're the one that's still going at the same speed that they were going before, and they're still able to compete at a high level. And when they do take a second to rest, if they check out for a play, they're back in and they're ready to roll. So we work a lot when it comes to, on the youth side, we work a lot when it comes to work-rest ratios, and how those things can affect the game pace, and getting our athletes back up to 80 to 100% of what they're capable of in a very short amount of time. So quick recovery technique is something that we really hammer.
Wow. So pretty much what you're saying is the most important part. Yeah, it's great for if you want to come in and work out your ego, by putting all that weight on.
There's no ego lifting here.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So a lot of people will do that, but the kids that you work with, the ones that are the most successful, it's because you guys actually instill what we need to win.
Sure.
Right. Win at the end of the game, not win in the weight room.
Right. Everyone wants to win in the weight room, and we absolutely will let them eat every now and then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we all love that stuff, right? But at the same time, if all we're doing is chasing lifting PRs, we're not going to get real far in our sport. So we can continue to push those numbers. Of course, those are going to help us, but getting people to understand that there's going to come a time where if you still you're going to need your motor still, and so building the motor of our athletes, and really trying to separate them from the pack, has been really beneficial for them. Wow. And that's something that I had to, we were talking a lot about things that I had to adapt in my coaching philosophy and programming, and things that have changed my mind, is I've seen that happen. So that wasn't something that I walked in here on day one and went like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. It's something that I saw working, and the other way wasn't. And so I was like, okay, let's go here, and we'll start testing this out a little bit. And then results start going through the roof, and then you're like, all right, well, we got this. So it's adaptation on the athlete's behalf, and the mindset of, you know what, we're not going to test our bench for the second time in 3 days, and we're going to do the grunt work. We're going to do the things that we don't want to do, but is going to separate ourselves when we need it.
That's humongous. So I think that's such a good point too, is because a lot of people, I think, myself included, whether it's work or coaching or sports, I think a lot of times we tend to lose focus because when we know what to do, it's really hard when it gets boring. And when you know what to do, you know exactly how to get to the end of that. You see the path in front of you, but it's actually doing that work that seems like, I think that's where you guys really, as coaches, are so important, because you keep those athletes on that straight and narrow path.
You keep them grounded for sure.
Yeah. Wow, so we talked about exercise a little bit. Let me ask you, what are your top 3 exercises?
Oh, personally? What I like doing? Or what the best bang for my buck?
Let's say, what are your top 3 favorite exercises when you see in your workout of the day, when you're like, oh, let's go. When you see that, what are you hyped for?
Oh, I'm weird. I love a barbell.
Okay,
I'm a big squat clean. I'm a big clean guy.
Okay.
And like the deadlifts, the squats, the whole 9. I'm also the only person who likes all those lifts and then also loves running.
Oh, wow.
Lift heavy, run fast.
So we got squat, deadlift, and then cleans.
Squat, deadlift, clean, and then I love throwing some running intervals in there.
Awesome. So let's walk through the numbers on that. So what's the squat right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
We're probably around 470.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the clean?
Clean is 340.
What's the deadlift?
Deadlift's 550.
Damn. Now what's the run? Now what's the run number?
The run is so what are we talking, mile?
Yeah, mile.
524 mile.
Damn.
524 mile. Damn. And a 50. Right now, if I did it right now, probably 50-second 400.
Wow.
Ish.
So how long have you been working out for to get there? Obviously, these are some great numbers, but you started somewhere, right?
Yeah. So I started when it was mid 2018.
Wow.
When I walked in here and got humbled real fast.
Yeah.
I was very much an ego lifter type, when I got here. And I was most assuredly in the worst shape of my entire life. When I came in here, I was probably about 40 pounds up from where I am now, and body comp was not good.
Wow.
It was nothing nice at all. And so I took the ego chops to the face, and understood that although I didn't like how that made me feel, the only thing that I could do was fix it.
Yeah.
Or I could just continue to accept the fact that I just wasn't going to be happy.
Wow.
So it's taken a long time to get me. I hated running. Wow. I hated running.
Yeah.
Pandemic happened, and there was gym shut down, so there was nothing to do. I didn't have a home set up at the time, and so Ogilvy Park's close to us, and so I was like, all right, well, we're gonna figure out how this running thing works, and just kind of thugged it out a little bit on the hills of Ogilvy Park, and got better at running. So it's another thing about coaching is that you have to be able to back stuff up. You know what I mean? So
if you're going to teach, you have to be able to.
You have to be So and that could look different. You don't have to be the heaviest lifter in the room. Yeah. I got plenty of athletes that can outrun me. We got some absolute stud cross country runners that can work me. And they'll talk about it, and they'll run, and I'll let them have it. That's fine. But because they've earned it, and so. My training has shifted a lot when it comes to why am I doing this? It's like, I'm doing it to be healthy, of course, but I'm doing it to set the standard for what my kids are doing. I can't expect my kids to work at the highest level that they possibly can if I'm not doing the same thing. So I refuse to be a hypocrite in the field. And our staff from top down is in the same boat. If you are going to be a coach here, we hold the standard that you are going to prioritize your fitness, whatever that looks like. You are going to show up every day and you're going to give your best. So it's taken a long time to get here, and now I'm getting to the point in my training career to where I'm just trying to I'm mirror driving. I'm just trying to keep ahead of these athletes that are coming up. So
wow,
we got some time still.
It seems like there's a common theme. It seems like, so obviously it seems like the first thing we have to do if we want success is we have to be open to understanding that we might not be where we want to be.
Correct.
So the first thing we have to do, right, is understand that we might have some faults. So we have to be open to the faults and be open to changing, right? So we have to be open, and then once we're open to that, the first thing we have to do is we have to start, right? And then once we start, we're going to reach out to someone like OV CrossFit, Jack Bence, Youth Perform, and then we're going to go and seek different perspectives that maybe we don't agree with, but we're going to be open because we understand there's a fault that we need to learn, because what we're doing is not working. What we're doing right now obviously isn't working if we're not happy, so we need to find somewhere that can close that gap, right? And then we're going to apply everything. We're going to take a full approach from mindset, fitness, nutrition, recovery, right? We have our chair. We don't want to kick one of the legs under. From there, we stay consistent with that, and we have a coach that'll keep us accountable through that whole process. And then eventually we'll go until we get our goals. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set new goals and keep up and keep going. Is what that sounds like. And again, like it sounds like there's a standard you have to set, and you have to be unwilling to compromise on that standard if you want to be the best.
Exactly.
Amazing.
We we fully understand that, life is life, and that's going to happen. You know what I mean? So, my 100% on a good day could be this, but, I'm few and far between is my 100% always going to be there. You know what I mean? So if I come in, especially if when we're talking about the youth athletes, if our athletes come in and they're in the middle of their season, you're not going to get them at top peak form every single day.
Wow, yeah.
So I don't need 100% of your potential. I need 100% of whatever you have today.
Now,
so if you got 70% today, cool, I need it.
Let's go. Yeah.
So getting them to, you hit the nail on the head. Getting them to be honest with themselves that there's an issue.
Yeah.
Commit to actually fixing the issue. Fix the issue.
Yes.
While holding yourself accountable the entire time. And then once we have fixed those issues, now we reassess and we're honest with ourselves again on what we got to do next.
We have to go set those new goals.
We have to reassess what we're doing.
100%.
So that's been that is the recipe for what we try to do.
Amazing. Well, it's 2025 right now, so we're like about a month into the new year. Yep. What are 3 goals that OV CrossFit and Youth Perform has, and then let's start. What are 3 goals that OV CrossFit and Youth Perform has for 2025?
Continuing to work at the highest level for our athletes, continuing to educate ourselves from a coaching perspective, and do more.
Do more.
You can always do more.
Continue to educate, continue to do what we're already doing.
Get more.
And go get more.
Yep.
Now, what are 3 goals that Jack Bence has for 2025?
A lot of those align. So
Okay.
goals that we have, I want to be able to broaden our spectrum to where we're more. We've done a really good job. Our schedule in here is pretty filled up. So we've done a really good job over the last year in 2024 branching ourselves out. So we work with a number of teams in the area in different sports and such. And going to them and working with them. And so that's another goal, is to continue to build our brand outside of the walls of this gym.
Wow.
And getting out and getting after it to the point where we're working with everybody that we possibly can. And then additionally, just getting people to understand, continuing to educate people on how this is important. Both educating athletes, but then also educating fellow coaches. We fully understand we can't help everybody. Our gym's only so big, so and our bandwidth is only so big.
Yeah.
So if another coach is doing something at the highest level, great, love it.
Yeah.
I want the coaches around here to be able to succeed just as much as we are, because that makes the area better.
That's humongous. A lot of people, a lot of coaches, you almost feel like they don't want other people to succeed, and I think that's something that you don't hear much, especially in the fitness space, especially in the physical location space.
Sure, absolutely.
Because everybody's trying to compete as athletes. It's the same thing as athletes. You know, you look at other teams, it's almost like if everybody's better, we're better, right?
Exactly, right.
Wow.
So
amazing.
Those are kind of the goals, is continuing to educate people, continuing to grow, and to keep helping athletes chase their dreams.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Where can we find, like, OV CrossFit? We go online, we need to look up on Instagram. Everyone's got social media. Where can we find you at?
So find me, Jack Bence 1 on Instagram, OV CrossFit on Instagram, just as it is, Youth Perform.
And you guys have a website?
Yeah, ovcrossfit.com is going to be where you're going to find everything on that.
Okay.
And yeah.
Where are you guys located at? Where are we at right now?
St. Clairsville Mall, or Ohio Valley Mall, St. Clairsville, Ohio.
Okay.
Just off the mall exit. Can't miss us.
So I know I'm going to come and do a class. Yep. If somebody else was to come and do a class, what's that like? What do we do? Just come in? Do we go online? Like how do?
So what you do is you would come in, or you would go on the website.
Okay.
Again, ovcrossfit.com.
Yeah.
Go on the website, schedule a free session.
Okay, so if I go online, I know I'm going to do this. If I go online, I schedule a free session no matter if I want to do youth, CrossFit. I want to come in and just see the gym, get a free session.
Exactly.
Right? I can just come in at St. Clairsville Mall. I can go online. As long as I can just contact you, I can come in for free, and I can just learn about it at minimum, and I'm guaranteed that I'm either going to get a free session or I'm going to change my life, right?
Exactly.
Amazing.
So yeah, get on there, reach out for either one, either the youth program or the adult program. Get in there, we'll get in communication with you, and we'll start getting wheels in motion.
Let's go. I know I'm going to come in for my free session. I'm going to work out and I'm going to get it. But I'm
looking forward to it.
Hopefully everyone else does as well.
Good.
It's been an awesome conversation.
Yeah,
and
man.
What's like one last thing? What's one thing maybe? We've covered a lot.
We have covered a lot.
We have covered a lot. But if you had to give one piece to somebody who's maybe on the fence, wants to improve, what's the one thing we need to do other than just get your ass in here?
We all fight our own battles, mental, physical, life, and so getting people to understand. If I were to be talking to someone, we get that, our coaching staffs come from a lot of different walks of life, and we are here for you. So get in here, talk with us, and let's start getting better for you, and start to change your life. So, yeah.
I love it. Jack Bence, OV CrossFit. Let's go.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, of course.